Hi, I'm Gary Barnage, former Carolina Panther and Cleveland Brown tight end, and you're plugged in with Jay.
Yo, what's good? It's your homeboy T-Pain. Right now, at this very exact moment, you plugged in with Jay.
You plugged in with Jay right now. This is Jay O'Man.
Turn up.
My boy Jay Parrish.
You're listening to my boy, Jay the Plug.
My boy, Jay the Plug.
You're listening to my boy, Jay the Plug.
You're listening to my boy, Jay the Plug.
You're listening to my boy, Jay the Plug.
Jay the Plug.
You got many winners for many moves. You're listening to my boy, Jay the Plug.
Get plugged up, everybody.
What is good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Plugged In with Jay. I, of course, am your host, Jay the Plug, Jay Parrish, with a very special guest, Trent Richardson. Trent, how are you, my man?
Man, I'm great, man. How you doing, man? I'm blessed to be here.
Oh, blessings all ours, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We'll get it kicked right off, my man. So I've got a lot of buddies who are huge Alabama fans. Big Alabama fans. They love talking some trash, man. I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, so I'm a big LSU fan. Go Tigers! But I don't throw shade on winners, man. I just can't do it. But you played for Alabama. You won the championship in 2011. I always ask the players who I've had that played at Alabama, who played for Nick Saban, what was it like for you playing for Nick Saban?
For me, man, playing for Nick, it was more of it was an honor. You know what I mean? It was a blessing for me because, I mean, he helped me out, all the way around the board. Mentally with my kids. I had 2 kids in high school. So, me being away from him because my kids has always stayed with me. So when I went off to school, like that was his big thing to keep me, not only just a football player, to better me as a father. And so, with him and Coach Burns, and Coach Burns is from Louisiana, he's from New Orleans. And so that was his big thing. Like they kept me close to their family. And I got to see a lot of their reactions and, interactions with their kids and, whether it's with their wives and stuff like that. And it kind of molded me to be a man because I never had a father figure outside one of my high school coaches. But I never had that father figure. So when I would, be there with them, man, it was so much of, just teaching me more about life than football. Football was just, and when Nick said, it's faith, family, and football, he meant that. You know what I mean? It's a lot of programs, when they mean faith, family, and football, they mean, faith, family as in I'm your family, and this football program is your family. It's not outside of that.
Right. One
thing that he preached, family, take care of your family, the ones that's really close, your immediate family, look after them, and make sure, because there's a lot of folks out there that's mature this stuff, never seen or never been that way. And, like I said, playing for Nick was a blessing for me. And I never got, I really never got cussed out for real because he didn't coach offense, and for me, only time I got cussed out when the team did something bad, because I was a captain for 2 years. I was in a leadership group for 2 years. And so he looked at me, and I could say he looked at me and Rolando different than a lot of different other players. Rolando McClain, and I always say this: Rolando was his baby. That was his guy. But when Rose stepped away, when he went to the next level, I kind of stepped in that role of being that leader of the team and taking on the concept of I wanted this to be my team. I wanted to be, the big brother. I wanted to be the alpha male, and not so much of the alpha male. I wanted to be the chief, and I wanted to lead out front. And if it was, by example, if it was by, by voice, I wanted to be that role because we lacked that my sophomore year. We didn't win a national championship, so I seen, where I had to step up, as a leader, and I had to just show, and coach, he kind of molded me into that. And so I was thankful for all of that.
That's great, man. Anytime I hear about Nick Saban, it's always good things. So it's always nice to hear that, the team that I was rooting against so much had a great coach. That's awesome. So third overall pick in the 2012 NFL draft, man. I always love to ask my guests who have been blessed enough to be drafted in the NFL, what was your experience like when you were drafted? What were you doing the night you were drafted?
I was in New York, man. I was at the green room, and I was with my family. So for me, I was just happy to be there with my teammates, man, and my family too. But my teammates, 'cause I know what them guys did to get there. You know, I know what they went through. Like I was there with them, and I'm talking about the surgeries. You know, I had a sports hernia surgery when I was in school. I mean, I had a knee surgery right before the draft. You know, I know. I mean, it was like 8 of us went down to get a sports hernia surgery at one time, man. And I mean, we fought through a lot, man. We lost a player that year on our team who passed. We lost a player girlfriend in the tornado. We had the tornado hit us.
Oh yeah.
And you know, like I said, it was more for me joining with those guys there, man, because I seen and I went through everything they went through. And so I was with my family, man. I was and my 2 girls at the time. I only had 2 daughters at the time, and my mom was there. My uncle was there. My brother, both my brothers was there on my mom's side. And one of my best friend was there, Anthony Porterfield. And you know, it's crazy that you know that you go back and you know say something about that. And Coach Boyd was there, my high school coach. That I say something about Anthony, man, because if it wasn't for Anthony, a lot of these situations, man, I wouldn't have been here because he helped me through school. You know, like far as getting me to school every day, he stayed on me. You know, and with him and my brother, man, it's the process that they you know helped me through with all this stuff, man. It's been big, and I can't replace them guys or you know repay them guys for anything they done for me.
Right. That's excellent to have friends like that, man, that make sure they stay behind you and keep you going. You played with the AAF. I was so pumped whenever the AAF started, man, because it was like off-season football. It's like I got to keep watching football year round. My wife was not so happy, but I loved that Birmingham had a team because that was the, you know, you had the who was Atlanta? The Atlanta Kings?
It was no, I think it was the Apollos, I think. No.
They had a crown. I remember that for their
It was something like I think it was Atlanta.
I'm not sure. They were purple and gold, but I remember.
Yeah, I remember that.
I kept looking to try and see whenever Birmingham came in because I wanted to see you play, man. You were one of my favorite players whenever you got drafted out, and like even though you were playing with Alabama, and I know I keep saying this, love watching you play. Like you're one of the toughest running backs. I love gritty running backs. When you played with Birmingham Iron, it lasted for about 8 weeks. And it dropped off. Take me through what your feelings were. Like, did you just get a phone call? How'd you find out about it, that it was just shutting down?
Yeah, I got a phone call and it was crazy because the night before it shut down, you know, I was actually talking to me and Johnny Football was on the phone because he had said something about it. Like, man, you know, they said that the league shut down. And I had just got off the phone with the owner of the league. It was like, nah, that's not, you know, we good. And the NFL had just agreed on making this like the, you know, G League,
sure,
or the D League, whatever they call it. They, you know, they was forming players, you know, from this league to go to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they had got the money from my old boy, the hockey guy. And the next morning, man, the NFL was just like, you know, we can't do it because this guy tried to tell them what to do. You know, he tried to tell them what to do with their program. And, you know, that's the NFL. The NFL don't need you at the end of the day, and y'all ain't did anything for the NFL. So, you know, we're the NFL is kind of like we're letting y'all survive, and you know, you trying to overstep your boundaries, and you're not going to do that. But you know, for me, I had a great time. You know, in the AFL. You know, I really learned the most football offensively. You know, minded, like because I spent a lot of time with my offense coordinator. I spent a lot of time with the quarterbacks, and I spent a lot of time with the O-linemen. And so when they would be a special team means I would be in there with the quarterbacks, you know, learning and learning how they think, you know, and learning the whole system. And for real, like I learned more football in the lines than I did my whole professional career because I got to actually, you know, see it, break it down, be a part of it, be in those meetings. And for me, it was better football for me than the NFL because you had guys trying to get there again. You had guys trying to fight, you know, And so it wasn't the guys playing for the contracts. It wasn't guys playing, for the money because everybody's getting paid the same. So you had guys trying to, it felt like back when it was college football, when I was around, when it was just the BCS, and you couldn't lose a game on Saturday, and that's what a lot of people don't realize too, that, man, when I played with Alabama, and not to keep going back to Alabama, but any given Saturday, if you lose a game, you lose out the national championship. So that last year of mine was critical because I couldn't go out when I win the national championship. But go back to the Lions, like it was so fun because them guys, like we came together. All of us was different from different places. You got Alabama guys, you got Auburn guys, you got UAB guys, you got Troy guys. You got, people that was, in the South, and you had, Louise, which she was from, from the West. Then we had guys that, that we, they kind of, drafted or, came from other teams, but we all came together in Texas and we all kind of, blended as a family together. And so, with that, we had, different coaches. Man, I learned a lot from Coach Lewis, and he put a lot, on me with being a leader of the team and, me standing in Alabama and me being, one of the faces of Alabama, and I took it on. And man, we had so much fun, man. I was devastated when I got that phone call because I can remember going in that room after we got the phone call. They told everybody to come to the meeting, and we went in that room, and it was just like we just clinched our division to go to the playoffs. So we were going to play Orlando twice back to back. We was going to play Orlando twice back to back. We was going to play them in the last game of the season, and we was going to play them the first round of playoffs. Mm-hmm. And like we was planning to be in, for the big show. That was our, goal. Right. And so when we, get this phone call, everybody's in the room, they're just quiet, and Coach Lewis come in, like he was breaking down, he was crying, and you could see the tears because there was a lot of joy and there was a lot of excitement, but it was like, it was so bitter because we put in so much work. I mean, we got coaches who got jobs from there. We got the first lady to sign with, an NFL team. She was our coach. She was our D-line coach. And I mean, you got, guys that, that was really wrecking their careers, coaches too, trainers. We had athletic trainers. We had people just got put out of nowhere. Like our athletic trainers done, changed their jobs. They done turned down jobs. They done found a place to stay out there, including players too. So it was deadly, man. But I do appreciate the Lions for the opportunity they gave me because my boys, right? And the reason I really agree with this, because my sons was like, Dad, when I'm gonna get to see you play football? And then I didn't realize my boys never seen me play football. They seen the videos on YouTube and stuff like that. Right. My son's like, Dad, when you gonna play football? I want to see you play football again. My oldest son. I'm like, oh, I can't. He haven't seen me play ball. They haven't. And it was fun to me because, I got to have them around. I got to, have a chance to let them see exactly, what's the process and, how long them days be and, what we do all day. And so and tell you the truth, bro, like my son now, he's tearing it up at his age group, man. I've never seen nothing like him. But, and that comes from the process of, seeing what I've done or, and a lot of it's just natural talent too. Like he been on watching film every day. If he's not reading a book, he watching film. And that's just him. Like he's just different. Yeah.
That's great, man. That's awesome. How old is he?
He just turned 9 on October the 5th. So he's an 8U player, but like he's number one. Like he's throwing the ball 50 yards. Like it's crazy on a tight sparrow.
This man is 9 years old watching film. I love it.
Oh man, he's been doing that since he was 5. Like that's like he just different, man. Like he's a student of the game, really smart kid. He done read over this year over like 25 books already, like chapter books.
Good man. That's so rare nowadays.
Man, look, it was rare when we was in school. So, like I said, tell him, I like, look, you way ahead of me because, when we was in school, I was picking up East Bay magazines or Sports Illustrated, For real. That was it, for real. Like, I wouldn't read no books like that unless we had to take an AR, accelerated reader test, what you call the AR test. Mm-hmm. But other than that, man, if it wasn't in school, like, I really wasn't Like my son, like even last night, we out, picking up my daughter's dress for a photo shoot. Dad, can I take my book in there with me? That's just, and it amazes me, man, that this kid loves to read. Like he gets so much knowledge from it. He gets peace from it, and that's what I like. I can see the peaceful, that's his peacemaker, man. So I get to see him do that, and that makes me happy, because I wish I would have picked up a book. I wish, but like I tell kids, parents all the time, man, your kids are 2.0. They're redemption. Everything you did wrong, you try to do it right with your kid and make sure that you don't make mistakes with them.
Right.
But man, it's crazy, bro. Like if you just see this kid, and I don't brag on him just because he's my kid. Like, cause my youngest boy, like he's different too. Like he'll read sometime, but he's not like my oldest. Like my oldest son got my youngest boy more like me. Like he was the clown. When I was his age, he was the clown and he's the show. And like TJ is more like me now, to where he's laid back, because he's always been around me.
Right.
And he my firstborn son, so I always have him around me, doing stuff and just seeing everything. And so for me, man, when it came to making my decision to play with the Lions, like that was the big reason.
I got you. And so you're definitely a family man, a great father. From everything you're just saying right now, you light up whenever you talk about your kids. You started playing for I call it the FAM League, FAM, the Football Americano de Mexico. Are you, and forgive me if I tried to study up as much as I could on it. Did you help found this? I know you're one of the guys at the head of it. So
no, I didn't help.
Tell me a little bit about that. How many teams do you have? I mean, I was actually, and I mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry. I was talking to Gary Barnage not too long ago, and he was talking about how incredible it is, like how many teams that play American football in foreign countries. He said like Brazil has like 34 teams or something.
Yeah, it is crazy, man. But no, I was not the founder. They actually came to me with an opportunity to play football, and I was just like, nah, I ain't, I'm not doing that right now, because I have all four of my kids, and for me to to make them, move and stuff again, or leave their friends, they just really starting to build their friend base and stuff like that, man. That's a big part of me, agreeing with my family. Mm-hmm. And so it was just like when I came out there, I was actually throwing a tournament for a Little League program, for my Little League program. And they came out there and they just wanted to talk and stuff. And it was like, well, would you play football over, in Mexico? And I was like, well, I don't know anything about soccer. Like, I don't, and that's, when I think about football over there, right, I'm thinking soccer. And they were like, no, American football. And they was like, well, just come out, and check it out, let's get you over there, see how do you like it. Before you make it, before you say no, before you say yes. And so when I go over there, and like I already, we've been, kind of back and forth, like I'm not fit to play. I'm just gonna, I'd be the ambassador, I help y'all with stuff. I would have worked the front office type stuff. And so I go over there, man, I fall in love with the place, man. Like it's marble floors when you walk in the complex, they got all the stuff that you need. Like it's different, man. And it reminds you of Phoenix, it reminds you of Arizona, it reminds you of Texas. Like it's different. And it's, people are so kind and people are so humbling over there. Like I go over there, man, I spend about maybe a week, close to a week over there, right? And they take me around to all these people and I see that you got people out there that live in caves, on the outskirts and stuff of the, the city. And I'm just like, man, like, it teach me that, like, I waste so much stuff and I'm not appreciative of the stuff that I do have, or, I know my kids don't get it, so when I'm over there, looking at this stuff, I'm looking at babies in these caves, and I'm looking at, families, no TV, no cell phones, everything they sell, they make from scratch. Like it was different, like pencils and like from real wood. Like it was right. Like cookies and stuff. I don't even know how they made the cookies. I didn't taste. I bought it, but I didn't taste it because I didn't know if it was clay or not. But stuff like that, man, where and like our dollar is $20 over there. and which is, I mean, I remember getting a meal, man. Shoot, it had to be $100 meal over here, but it was only like $15 over there, and that's for me and another person. It was crazy. But man, I went over there and fell in love with it, man. And we kept going over stuff, man. And they convinced me to play. And I talked with it with my kids and stuff, my family. And so when I talked with it with my family, man, it was like that. We love this opportunity. We want to see you happy because, and they said, and it's my oldest daughter talking like that. You do so much for us. It's time for you, to start being happy, with your decisions. And like now, my oldest daughter, she's 15, and so like my kids are older, and they're been through so much with seeing me in media and having to grow up fast and learn how to take on stuff like that to where they talking to me as we breaking this down as a real as an adult conversation with me and my girls and stuff. And so, it is, and I get proud when I say it because it's like, man, I really taught y'all, something, I really taught y'all a lot. So when I go over there, man, it was immaculate, bro. Like I can't express like how much fun it was, like just the environment. Like, I mean, it's 8 teams over there right now. We actually about to add another one. And I don't even know if I'm supposed to be saying that, but at the end of the day, I love people to be excited about stuff. We actually about to add another team. We actually added 2 teams this year. That's the Cancun and then Cabo team. And I mean, we got teams in Cancun, Cabo, Progreso, Chihuahua, Mexico City. It's a couple other places. I don't want to say the wrong names. But man, we're building, and we've been around for 3 years now. We just put 3 guys in the NFL. And
really,
to put guys, but just put 3 guys. Matter of fact, one of the guys was on Hard Knocks with the Cowboys, the big offensive lineman, the big Mexican offensive lineman. He was on Hard Knocks.
Yeah. Oh man, what was
came from the family?
He was huge. He was like 6'7". He's a monster.
Yeah. He actually came from the family, and he was he actually made the roster. So man, you got guys like that, right? That's the opportunity, that's getting a chance, and they're changing their family life. They're changing their lives. I mean, like we all know, football is not football without Americans. And, the stuff that I'm able to bring over there and teach them and help them with, it's amazing to me because that's why, I enjoy my platform with with football. And this lead over here, man, you got scrappy guys. You got guys that's trying to get there. And you got it's a real professional career. I mean, you got guys over there, some guys are making, 40, 50,000 a year for 10 games. But you got some guys over there making 6 digits. And that's in American money.
Wow, man.
So like I tell guys, from America, man, you basically got a paid vacation. You go over there and do what you're supposed to do. And the owners are actually willing to help you start businesses over there. So you got guys that, actually stayed over there in the pandemic because their business was booming out there in Mexico. And so they they didn't want to come home to all the headaches that was going on in America. Actually, the guy that kind of introduced me into the sports over there, Brandon Jackson, he got a business over there. He stayed over there. And one of the guys that was with him named Mo, he does the jerseys over there. And so, like I said, they're willing to help you, and they want to, they want guys to stay over there because they want guys to see, they want the world to see that Mexico is just not about cartel or drugs, man.
Right.
Because it's a beautiful place, man. And I'm telling you, man, like with these combines that we have in these trials, there's 15 players that can be on Americans that can be on each team. And I think right now we're looking for 35 guys. And so, it's a big opportunity, man. I'm talking about a big opportunity. You can go over there and be stars. Like, I mean, I'm looking at one guy get off the plane and they taking pictures of him. They got the red carpet rolled out for this guy, man. And he the face over there. And I didn't understand, how much the fan base. It's 50 million football fans over there. It's crazy.
Oh my God, man.
That's why they have an NFL game over there every year. They're in London.
Yeah.
They have a game over there in London and in Mexico every year because what the fan base is over there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, you got guys like Rob Woodson. He's actually doing some partnership with them over there. I mean, you got guys. I mean, I'm in the works of talking to Emmitt Smith, trying to get Troy Polamalu, trying to do some Lamar Woodley, trying to do some partnership stuff over there, man. And this league here, bro, it's a spectacular league because these guys here are humble, but they're hungry. Everybody's hungry over there, and they build these new stadiums, and like their halftime shows is bigger than the Super Bowl. Like the regular halftime shows, like they get all the big stars from Mexico, and I mean you'll see Pitbull over there one day. You'll see Daddy Yankee.
Really?
Yeah, you'll see him over there, like. And this just at a regular halftime show, man. It's different, man. Like and there's 50, I think it's 50 to 60,000 fans in the stadium. Like it's crazy, man.
They're very passionate. That's one thing.
Yeah, they've been playing football over there for 100 years.
Uh-huh.
And I would have never knew that. They've been playing American football over there for over 100 years. And when they say football, I'm thinking soccer.
Right. Yeah. Football. I'd have never thought that. I'd have never known they were playing for 100 years. I knew from the discussions I've had before, I know that I just learned that they actually had teams over in foreign countries, which I kind of figured they had fans, but I didn't realize that they were trying to do all this. Like, it sounds like Mexico's turning it up, man. Like, they're very passionate people. So like, of course their fans are going to take to it, like anything to support where they're from. That's one thing I love about Mexico. Whenever we were there, like we would go, for vacations and stuff, like you were saying, like they're very passionate people. It's just like for like soccer, they're extremely passionate for their teams, man. So I mean, that's awesome. And the fact that the owners actually help with the players, like starting businesses and stuff, it's just excellent. It's a good way to generate revenue. But the thing that sucks, they don't show much of it here because it's not, like the NFL shows them because it makes the NFL money. What are they doing? Is there anything that they're trying to do to get them to show some of the games in the U.S.?
Yeah, that's what we're working on now. We're trying to actually get a channel out here. So right now we're going to be on Amazon and everything. We're going to be streaming everything from Amazon, but we're trying to get a channel out here now. And that's the next thing we're working on. And it's about there. And I forgot to mention too, that they pay for transportation. They pay for housing. They pay for groceries every week. I mean, it's all type of stuff that they do that NFL is not, or these other leagues and lines, they wouldn't near do it. After you leave the complex, you're on your own. At the end of the day, you're on your own after you leave the complex. And so that's what I like about this league here, because I can't sit there and say that, I'd have been somewhere and the head coaches or the owners are trying to help me grow off the field or, help me, start a business, whatever, ideal I got, let's come up with something. Let's meet at let's meet halfway and let's do this. After you leave that field, you're done. After you leave that complex, you walk out, you're done. It ain't no guys hanging out with each other, with the coaches or ain't nobody trying to, actually you get done with the coaches, in the NFL, you're done. At the end of the day, ain't nobody, calling each other, checking on them, see how you doing. I talk to our coaches almost every other day, trying to find different ways, how to get better and come up with different stuff. And they ask about my first thing they do, ask me about my family, every time I get on the phone with them.
That's awesome. So are you getting pretty fluent in Spanish?
No, I'm not. I but it's crazy because I'm going to get it. I am.
Oh, sure.
My oldest daughter, she both of my daughters take Spanish now. One in the 9th grade, one in the 8th grade. And so when they be talking, my daughters, Dad, I know what that mean. I know what this mean, and but you got a lot of them that talk. They talk America. They speak English. But the ones that don't, or they have interpreter there, and they speak some type of English, but they might not understand everything. But or if they understand everything, they might can't speak it.
Sure.
So, but they have they'll have interpreter with you, And I haven't had a problem with it at all. Only thing that that scares me, because I don't eat pork when I go out to the restaurants and stuff, and I be having to see, what I be having to put the Google Translate on my phone and ask them, like, if there's any pork in there, I can't have it, and I be having to interpret it to them or put it on my phone.
Right.
But most of the time they keep somebody with me, so it's been fun for real.
Yeah, that's great, man. Like I've learned, I've heard that my old Spanish teacher told me that if you just put the Spanish channel on 24 hours a day, just let it play, you'll eventually learn it. And I'm like, nah, ain't no way, but that's how she learned it. So I don't know, man. Your son
Well,
might
it's
be able to
crazy
teach you over
because
here.
yeah, it's crazy because I took in high school, because you had to take 2 foreign languages to get to college. In high school I took sign language,
Oh,
and
that's
so yeah, I took sign language because I'm fluent in sign language, but well, at least I was real fluent in sign language. But I'm fluent in sign language, but when it comes to Spanish or speaking these different languages, it's just like ching ping ping ping. I can't. It's hard for me.
right.
But when it comes to signing, I see people sign all the time. It's like, oh, I could tell you that whole conversation. And every time I say it, my kids be like, "No, you can't, Dad," because my kids don't realize they don't remember me teaching them as a kid sign language. So man, it's like I said, it's different, and it's really a fun process to be learned, especially when you grow. It's harder when you're grown,
Right.
but it's definitely challenging, and I love a challenge.
Yeah. It's always easy to learn that stuff whenever you're a kid because that's just what you got to do.
Yeah.
uh, do you have any words of wisdom for any of the up and comers, anyone who's about to be drafted, anybody who's, wanting to be in the NFL, play for a professional team, come to the family, anything like that? Do you have any words of wisdom?
Well, guys that's going to the NFL and going to the next level, man. Only thing you have to say is take care of yourself, and learn the business part of it. And when you talking about this game, you got to look at everything as a business opportunity that's on and off the field. And I would have guys say to me when I was younger, like Pac-Man Jones, Ed Reed, Camardi, and we'd be in the middle of the game. Guys sit there and say, "Hey man, hey Rook, come on man, keep that in on the inside. We don't want no problems here. I got to get to the next contract." And I didn't realize what they were saying. I thought they were saying that, "Hey man, you just running too hard," which they wasn't. They were telling me, "Hey man, it's okay to go down. Last as long as you can, because at the end of the day, you're just another number, just another check." So extend your contract, extend your career as long as you can, because when you're done, you're done.
Right.
And me getting older and learning the business part of it, I actually get that. At that time, I didn't get the the whole get down or take care of yourself, be a professional on the field and off the field.
Sure.
And kids got to realize, like, they know your every move. You whatever you do, if they ask you about it, trust me, they definitely know. Mm-hmm. If they don't ask you about it, they know. I mean, I remember my kindergarten teacher called me, right, and I was about to get drafted. And she said, "I think you're gonna get drafted to the Browns." I said, "Well, why you say that?" She was like, "Because they was here asking questions about you." I was like, "What?"
Damn.
I'm like, she was like, "Yeah, they was here asking me questions about you." And trust me, if they put millions of dollars into you, man, they definitely, they know your whole background, they know your whole past, they know where you came from, they know who your uncles, they know who your aunties, they know who your mama is, they know who your dad, they know who your cousins is, they know that the NFL is like the CIA, man. Like, they know everything. They probably know stuff before it happens. But take care of yourself, man, on and off that field, man. Keep that body right, keep that mind peaceful. And whatever you got going on outside of football, leave it there. When you step in that building, it's 24 hours, man. If you want to last long, man, it's 24 hours. When you got to have that Kobe Bryant mentality, man. And I look at a lot of stuff that Kobe did, I took for granted. I didn't understand, why would he, take 900 shots a day. I didn't understand the Kobe Bryant when I was younger. or the Michael Jordans or the LeBrons when I was younger, and I understand it now. And you look at that, how they, treat themselves, treat their body, treat their family. They're not rolling deep. They stand to themselves. They're able to, have a long career because, on and off the field, that they're taking care of their mindset. Football is, I say, 90% mental and 10% physical to me. Like physically, I feel like I don't want to say anybody can play, but a lot of people that can play. But mentally, like if you're not there in the mind, it's definitely it can chew you up. I remember, and I'm only talking from experience. When I got traded, I didn't want to play football no more because I was so loyal to the game. It was just kind of like it was my wife. When my wife, if my wife cheated on me, I can never look at her the same. I didn't want to be in that relationship, and that's just how I was raised. To be a loyal person, to be a family person. So football was always family to me. And so when I got traded, it was more of a, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Because at the end of the day, they're looking at me as a number, as a business. It is what it is. And so when you start learning that type of stuff, man, and not to say that it's just a job, but have fun with it. So it won't be a job, but learn that you are a business. And so like I tell people all the time, right? And I got it on my wrist right here. You are your way out. And that's why our website is You Are Your Way Out, because at the end of the day, your mom can't do this, your daddy can't do this, your brother can't do it, because if they could, they would be there. They would be doing it. Coach can't do it for you. Right. At the end of the day, and the kids got to realize this is my last time I'm leaving with you. And this is what my trainer tell me all the time. When he tell the kids that train there too, it's your career.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's, you basically just answered one of my next questions. But yeah, it's, I see what you're saying. Like, cause I was going to ask you about how it felt whenever you were traded. You put so much into a relationship, like with you and the Browns, and then all of a sudden you're traded to a different team. It's just like you said, it's just like you being married and then them just taking off. It's like, what? Yeah.
You got to realize, like, people don't realize I played 12 games with broken ribs. And so, and I had 2 knee surgeries before the season. And so, with just having that, like, I mean, I gave y'all my all. I done moved my mom up here. I moved my whole family up here. Like, my kids are there, school up here. Now we got to up and leave. I done bought a house up here. I'm thinking it's going to be my, place I'm going to be for the next at least 10 years. Yeah. At least to the next contract, and so, and I enjoyed Cleveland. Like, I was having fun in Cleveland, and the team was growing. And I felt like when I left, when they traded me, I felt like it was just a different mind, because we were just changing the culture around there. We started winning games. We beat Steelers for the first time, and I think the Quail said 7 years, because he was there. He said the last 6 years or 7 years, because after we beat the Steelers, the Quail was in the locker room, tearing up. And I was like, "What's wrong?" You're like, man, I appreciate y'all. Like, why you say that? I said, man, I haven't beaten them once since I've been here. And, and for him to say that, because it's so hard to win a game in the NFL, because you never really catch a blowout game like that. And when I was with the Browns, you never really caught a game unless getting blown out. It would always be like by 1 point or a touchdown. It come down to the last minute or the last, few seconds. And so that's, when you talk about NFL, every guy's All-American. Everybody's all Pro Bowl. Everybody, everybody's all this, everybody's all that. Right. Because you become mentally, and you become mentally stable of, because it really don't matter how old you is. It doesn't matter, what that mind, how young you can keep that mind, how fresh you can keep that mind. Because you think about Ray Lewis's last year, you think about Tom Brady last year. Or you think about Kobe Bryant, right? Kobe Bryant said, well, I wasn't the fastest and I wasn't the quickest guy when I got older, but I had to learn how to shoot. I had to learn, I couldn't do all the jumping and, dunking no more. I had to learn how to shoot. And you look at, what LeBron's doing. LeBron's not doing all the dunking like he used to and, running, chasing people down. He'll do it every once blue moon, every now and then, but right. LeBron's pulling up from half court now. He's hitting them jump shots. Yep. So he's not, trying to get, beat up in that, in that hole no more and, having to dunk on people all the time, because the knees give out too. Right. But like I said, this like I didn't want to play ball because it was like I put so much into Cleveland. Well, when I got traded, it was just like, like for real. Like I was in the complex. Like I was there when they traded me, and I didn't get a word. Like I was ice tubbing up. I was getting ready to play against Minnesota because I remember we was playing against Adrian Peterson, and that was the matchup. And that was one of my idols.
Right.
So I was pumped about that. I wanted to see him play. You know, I wanted to see him because, you know, I wanted to be the better back of the game. And so, and I had a good the first 2 games of the season. And so when you get traded like that, and having to learn another playbook because we had just got another head coach, like it was different. You know, we learned one playbook, but I had to learn another one. Then I had to get over here to Indianapolis, learn a whole nother one. And the guy that they set us with, you know, gave me was Andrew Luck, offensive coordinator, and when he was with Stanford, so all he knew was Andrew Luck. Man, we was passing ball 55 times a game, average. And you know, that's not nothing to say about Andrew, but that's all he knew. He knew Andrew.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, man, I mean, he had to keep him a job too. Pep had to keep him a job, and Pep was a great dude. But it was just, you know, stuff that, you know, people don't realize in the NFL, man. You got to play by their rules.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I was a little bummed out whenever you got traded to Indianapolis, man. I know it's I always ask this. I started
talking about you.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine, man. That would be a tough transition. I don't know anything about that. I haven't gone through any transitions like that, but I can imagine what that would have been like for you. I mean, you having to uproot and move with your family and all that stuff, that had to be tough. Now, I say I got bummed out whenever you got traded in a selfish manner because I started this whole thing like interviewing and everything because I was a huge fantasy football fan. I always ask with that face, man. I see that face, bro. I always ask, what are your opinions on fantasy football? And it's okay. You can shit all over it if you want to. That's okay.
Nah, but you know what, man? I really wasn't big into the fantasy football. And I wasn't big into fantasy football because I wasn't I wasn't a social media guy. Like I didn't have the MySpace growing up. I didn't have the Facebook. I just got the Instagram a couple of years ago. And I only got it because the Lions begged me to have it, you know, to help them with the league.
Sure.
So I kind of stayed away from that. But for the most part, like when I was starting, like I did kind of, you know, I thought I did pretty good. But you know, I really never got, like, I want to understand it. You know, I want to understand. I want somebody to teach me. So you're going to have to teach me about fantasy football because I really never got into it. I just never took the time to understand it for real.
Yeah, man.
I'm one of them type of guys, man, that kind of, when I leave football, I kind of leave it there. You know, I don't.
Sure.
Like when I left college, I really didn't watch Sports Center. I really didn't, and it's not to say nothing about sports, but I had to start learning, like, man, I gotta, you know, when I do get home, I gotta, you know, learn how to turn it off sometime.
Sure. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
No, that's a skill, actually. Like that's impressive that you could do that you actually had the wherewithal to do that. Me, when I played basketball, I played ball in college, almost went overseas and everything. When I stopped playing ball, I can't watch basketball. I can see clips and stuff and kind of pay attention to like who's where in the standings and everything, but I can't. It just shut off in me. I just couldn't. Kind of like what you were saying after you like would be done playing or whatever. You didn't pay attention to Sports Center or whatever. It's a little bit different, but kind of the same thing. Whenever you're thinking about it, whenever I got done with it, I was done. Fantasy football is a lot of fun. It turned me into a much bigger football fan and more of a player fan. Now, I am one of those guys who's a firm believer that if there's a player that is hurt, respect it and pray for them to get better. Don't be these assholes who go online and just start berating players. Like if you remember, I don't know if you heard like everything that Arian Foster did with fantasy football stuff, where he'd like put pictures of his leg that was like broken and stuff, and people would be like, "Oh, they'd start taking him out as like he would like troll people with that because of the way that people would act. And that's, to me, that's kind of a despicable thing to do. So I understand if players just can't stand it, because there are some people who get so obsessed with it that it's ridiculous. So I always like to get the opinions and see what actual players feel about fantasy football. Since I've spoken with him, he started playing fantasy football, and he's got like a family league, and he's having fun with it and stuff because it's something that him and his kid and you know, family members can do together. So it's fun when you do stuff like that. But like I always wonder how a player feels about it. So yeah, that's why.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different, man. Because you know, people don't understand. Like, we play with last limbs, man. Because like I said, I played 12 games with broken ribs. Like, I would have to get a shot of my ribs before every game. Like, I can remember, like, I had to get a massage chair, right? And I had to sleep in that for 4 weeks. I couldn't lay down. Like, I couldn't run. Yeah, man, like, I couldn't run. Like, I couldn't run in a week because, you know, your ribs is attached to everything. Like, even now today, if I sneeze too hard, like, they'll pop out. Like, ugh. Like, and I'm a hard sneezer. Like, I'm a heavy sneezer when I sneeze. And so when it comes to certain stuff, like when it comes to like pepper and stuff, I stay away from it. Like, I try to stay away from, you know, because I know. But man, like, I remember, like, I couldn't laugh. Like, I couldn't hiccup. Oh man, having the hiccups. Like, bro, it was tough. Like, I remember like having to go to Brookstone and buy this chair because I just couldn't lay down. And then, man, I can remember like getting that big old needle in my eye. They would have to numb it. And they would have to give me I would get 2 shots.
Cortisone,
and they would have to
with
numb
the number
it.
and then the cortisone.
Yeah, and they had to do the Toradol. Like, man, it was like for every game. Then they had like put like a bulletproof vest stuff around it, and they had spattered it up. Like, it was crazy before every game. Like, I wouldn't practice until like Friday, right? I wouldn't practice you know, Friday's kind of like, you know, almost like a calm chill day because I couldn't run. Like, I couldn't run. And so, and I was still rehabbing that knee the whole season too. And so even when I got to Indianapolis, like, I would still have to do the same thing, you know, my ribs. Like, my whole career, I would do the same thing with my ribs. And I had a shoulder in Indianapolis too. People that never came out either. I had a shoulder in Indianapolis. I played through that. And you know, people like, man, it's crazy, man. Like, you know, I love football, but you know, and I love the platform, but you know, and football has been great to me and my family. But I think, you know, people don't understand what we go through, and that's fine, you know, because it's not put out there. You know, they won't allow it to be put out there. But you know, it is what it is, man. But me, mentally wise, at that time, bro, I did not want to play football at all. Man, like, I remember coming home, right, and I would just I would just take my kids, take them in the room with me, and lock my door. People be knocking on the door, want something to eat? No, I'm good, man. Like, I wouldn't want nothing to do with nobody unless it was my kids. You know, that's just how I was, because I didn't understand why I got traded.
Right. Now, whenever some kids are very perceptive. So when you got traded and you felt that way, and I'm sure from what it sounds like, you tried to keep that stuff out of the home and you tried to keep your home stuff out of football and all that. But I mean, could your kids read that on you? Could they tell that daddy was not happy?
I don't think so, man, because I kind of keep stuff separate. You know, when and people always, you know, say about me on a poker face. Like, I never. And I learned that from Nick. You know, I'm never down. I'm never too far up. I'm always right here. You know, I'm always a little bit. And my oldest son do that. He got so much to be in him. He do that all the time. So even when he scored a touchdown, like, this is the only celebration he'll get right there. Everybody else, they be jumping. If he catch the ball, like, if he runs mud over, he's just gonna look at you. And that's the farthest he gonna get. Like, he's not gonna, you know, do anything. He's not gonna do the gritty. He's not gonna do all that type of stuff. Right. And people like, and they be like, "Are you all right? Are you sad?" I'm like, "No, no." Like, I'm good. Like, this is what I do, you know. So at the end of the day, but it's crazy because, you know, everybody call him Poker Face TJ. But for me, man, I always kind of stayed to where, I kind of kept that stuff separate because at the end of the day, like I know, anything I would do at home, like it would reflect off my kids and off my parenting.
Sure.
The way that, I needed to be parent when I was, their age, by a father figure.
Yeah.
And so I don't think they did notice it. Probably my girls did when they got a little older. But I always kind of kept stuff separate. And I think that's a good trait that I always had and what I've been blessed with. And so, I had to ask them that question. That's a good question.
Yeah, I've always wondered that, like, because my nieces and nephews, we don't have kids of our own, but my nieces and nephews, they can read real fast. Like we'll be doing, because they live in Texas. So if we're doing like a FaceTime or something, and since they were little, they call me Uncle because they couldn't say Uncle for a while. So they call me Uncle. Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, just a long day at work or something. And they're just like, okay. And then I'm like, dang, man, I gotta switch it up. I gotta start acting happy, because I'm happy to talk to them, but I'm just so tired. But they can pick that type of stuff up, even if you feel like you're not acting like that or anything.
Yeah, I know they can now. I know my kids can now, like especially if somebody the past in the family that was close to me or something. They definitely can now. But I mean, I keep a lot of stuff in, where you won't know if something's wrong. And that's probably bad of me because I see my kids do that all the time, like especially my oldest son and my youngest daughter. Like they just kind of, like she can get her music herself on, she good. You can't really tell. Right. So I be having to just knock on the door sometimes, like, hey, you all right? What's going on? And she's like, I'm good. And I know something bothering her. If it was like a jump shot she missed or something, because she played basketball. I'm just saying, for example, or if it was, I can't say a bad grade because they had good grades. But, certain stuff like that, I kind of notice and with her, let's say when it's that time of the month, I kind of notice because her reaction is a little bit different.
Sure.
She's in a room all day. She's taking showers all day. It's kind of different.
Sure.
And that's another thing I had to learn as a father, and it's certain stuff that they don't know how to tell me and talk to me about because I am the dad, right. And it's like certain stuff I don't have the answer to, but I would try to find it. But right. That's been another process too.
Man, I can't imagine, man. It sounds to me, man, I wish I would have talked to you more about being a pops, man. Like it's awesome getting to hear you talk about your kids. It really is, because it's just you light up whenever you do, and it's I guarantee you, every father, like no matter what race, anything, a dad is going to understand another dad. You know what I mean? Like if you have a daughter that you're going through that specific time of the month or anything like that, like you got, everybody goes through a lot of different things. I mean, different things in different ways, of course, but they're all human, so they all experience the same things like that. So like it's just it's awesome to see. It's awesome to see how good a dad you are and how proud you are of your kids. I love it.
And that's funny you say that, because my most proudest moment came, was it 2 Saturdays ago? We played Tennessee, right? Alabama, and I actually went back to Alabama to the game because I had all the owners and GMs with me from Mexico, from the family, and commissioner. I took them out to the game and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And I also took my family. So my most proudest moment was a couple of weeks ago in football, excuse me. And I say that because my kids got a chance to see like my handprints in the ground as a captain, my name in a national championship, my name on, the cement, in the Walk of Champs, and, at Denny Chimes, they got to see my pictures and stuff. And, it's some of the stuff that I haven't got a chance to see because they didn't reconditioned everything. They didn't redid everything. You go in the locker room, it's a big picture of me and Mark Ingram. You go in the recruit room, it's pictures of me up there. You go inside the complex, it's pictures of me. Go in Bryant Museum, it's pictures and videos of me. And so they got to see a lot of that stuff, and they were like, dang, Dad, your name all over this school. I was like, yeah, that's a lot of work, And, my son, he was like, I asked my son, I said, son, ain't that your name? What they said, nah, Dad, that's your name. I'm a junior. I got to get my name up there. And so that made me light up inside, like knowing, like his mindset, his mind frame was just way different. But to see my kids like to go find my name and I was fighting over who was gonna take the picture, and they was taking, let me move. I'm getting my dad name, stuff like that. Like, and they putting their handprints in my hand, putting their shoe in my cleat. It was, my cleat print. It was a play. Like, man, I almost teared up. Like, I had to walk away. Like, it was like, man, all that work I did, it meant a lot. Like, all that work I did, like, it didn't, go to waste. And for my kids to go back and see that, and when they go to school, they can come back and see it, or you can sit down and say, hey, man, my dad handprints over there, my dad did this, my dad did that. And so the first time I noticed that, my son like noticed who I was, and he was like 5, right? And I think the little kid was challenging him. My son really never really say nothing. And so I'm just listening kind of, and my son said, I think the dude wanted to race my son or something, or he wanted to say, if he told my son he'll hit him or he'll go head up with him and something like that. Or my son looked and said, do you know who my dad is? And so when he said that, I didn't say nothing. I just kind of glanced over, and I was like, oh, okay, he do know, what I've done and what I do. Yeah. And we had left that day, and I had another meeting, and it was at night, and I was sitting there telling him, I was like, son, what you want to be when you grow up? And he was like, well, Dad, I want to be a football player. I said, well, you don't have to do that. You can be a firefighter, you can be a doctor, you can be the mayor. And he was like, well, Dad, you can't play football forever. You can't take care of the family, for the rest of your life. Somebody else got to do it. As a 5-year-old, him saying that, it was just like, man.
Wow, man.
Yeah, different, man.
That's, man, like I can't even imagine what you felt whenever you heard that. That's fantastic. I love it. And the fact, whenever you're talking about your daughter saying that we can see that this would make you happy, they're willing to uproot and do all that. I mean, that's awesome. I feel like we wasted time talking about football career and stuff. We should have been talking about you and your kids, bro.
It's cool, bro.
Awesome. Like, I love it.
I tell people all the time, bro. I was a father before I was any type of great football player,
Yeah.
I mean, people don't realize I didn't get to play football until my junior year in high school. I had screws in both of my ankles. And so, really? Man, I didn't get to play football until my junior year in high school. So, like, when that first offer came from Alabama, like, it was so much of a blessing. I had my first game, I had 407 yards. And it was so big for me because I had just came off, 2 injuries back to back. Mm-hmm. I only played 2 games my freshman and sophomore year. I started on varsity, but I had screws in my ankles, man. I couldn't do it. I had 2 of my ligaments, and so my bones wasn't, attached to each other. Every time I would walk, like, they would, and my foot would come apart. Yeah. Wasn't no ligaments right there. Mm-hmm. And so the only sport I did in high school for 4 years was track.
Okay. What'd you do in track?
100. I was a 10.31. The only person that beat me was Jeff Dills. Jeff Dills ran a 10.01 in our prelim. And then the final, he ran like a 9.9 or a 9.8. And 2 weeks later, he made it to the Olympic trial and won and made it to the Olympics. Then he said he wanted to play football. So then he went down there to Florida. But, I got so much respect from everybody because I was 230 and everybody else was like 160. I was moving, 10.31, Florida speed is different. Right. And that 10.31, I got second place in that race, man. But, man, shoot, them boys down there, man, they're different with their speed, man. 10.31 would have blew everybody else out anywhere else, Right. Between Florida and Texas, man, that's not winning. If you understand what I'm saying.
Right. Well, man, Trent, I had a blast, man. I appreciate you coming on the show, buddy. This was awesome. I love it whenever I'm interviewing somebody, it basically turns into a conversation. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
I hope you had a good a time as I did, man. And I can't thank you enough for coming on the show, partner. I'd love to have you back on eventually.
Man, I appreciate you, bro. Anytime you want me to come on, man, I enjoy myself, man. I'm here for you, bro. And I respect what you're doing. I'm a big fan, and keep doing your thing, man.
Man, I appreciate you very much, man. I can't wait to start seeing some of them games on Amazon. You're going to start streaming on Amazon, right?
Yep. And I'll send you the link. I'm going to send it out on my Instagram and on our website when we get the exact channel.
Excellent. What's the website?
You Are Your Way Out. I think it's youareyourwayout.com.
Awesome, partner. Do you have any idea when the season's starting?
The season will be starting this year in February. It usually start in June. It goes from June to August, but this year it's from February to March. March, February to March. It's 10 weeks, well, maybe a little bit of April.
Good deal.
But it's 10 game season, man. Guys are excited. You know, we got young guys. We got some guys that played in the NFL. We got some guys that played for, you know, some big time college programs that's going to be there, man. They ready.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I'll make sure, you know, I'll be sharing anything that you put out there. I want everybody to know about it, man. I'm excited for it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, bro.
All right, my man. You have a good day, buddy.
Yes, sir.